Hello, everyone. This is Björn Strid from the Night Flight Orchestra. We're about to embark on an Australian tour coming up real soon. So go and get your tickets now. We'll see you there. It's going to be a hell of a dance party, and you're currently listening to Heavy Mag.
Beautiful, mate. Fantastic introduction. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. So, as you mentioned, the Night Flight Orchestra land in Australia for a run of 3 exclusive shows starting in Brisbane on August 3rd before moving to Sydney and then Melbourne, mate. So, it's not far away. Are you packed and ready to go yet?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, it feels like it was not just a couple of weeks ago we hit Australia with Soilwork, but in fact, it was in November last year. So, but anyway, regardless, this is going to be something completely different. It's I'm really grateful that we're able to come to Australia with the Night Flight Orchestra, and we feel that the fan base has grown a lot in Australia, and so I had to poke Doug from Hardline Media to try to get us over there as well, and yeah, we're definitely ready. We have a beautiful set list coming up, and for these shows, and it's going to be real special.
Cool. So, this is the first time touring Australia with Night Flight Orchestra, mate. So, question is, why have you neglected us for so long?
Yeah, good question. We wanted to come like all those years so many times, to Australia, but it's I don't know. It had to grow a little bit, but we definitely felt that the latest years that a lot of people come up to you when you're in Australia with soul working and sort of, saying like, hey, when is Night Flight coming to Australia? It's like, it's amazing what you do. And it's like bringing vinyls to these signing sessions and stuff like that. So we've noticed, that it's been growing a lot, and now is definitely the time. I wish we did it 5 years ago, but at the same time, it was worth waiting for, I think.
Yeah. So, the big thing is, I guess, guys, what can Aussie fans expect from you? They sort of haven't seen you on these shows before.
Well, like I mentioned before, it's going to be a beautiful dance party. It's always a good time, and we've been playing a lot of shows here in Europe, and it has very much of a unifying factor, I would say, this band, and it brings a lot of people from different genres that normally wouldn't go to the same show. And it always ends with people dancing in the end. No matter if you're wearing a behemoth patch or a prog, if you're a prog dad, or if you're like a 15-year-old girl who knows all the lyrics, it's all the same. It's like everybody's dancing together, doing the conga train, and if you like our albums and our songs, and I mean, wait till you hear it live. It comes to they really come alive, for sure. It's on a whole different level.
Yeah. And the flip side of that, mate, like aside from yourself, who's been over here with Soilwork before, like the rest of the band don't really know what to expect from us either. So, are you giving them a few pointers before you come?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say to give some pointers. I mean, I think it's really, you should really come and see us, on these shows. It's a totally different scenario. This is music made to be played live as well, and just bring your white jeans, I guess, and your dancing shoes, and everything is gonna be okay.
It's called the Death to False AOR Australian tour, mate. Can you explain what that means?
Well, I mean, AOR is sort of a title that it means album oriented rock,
Right.
but to us it also means airline oriented rock, I guess. So yeah, I mean, because we feel that we really like our sound to be very organic, and it's not only about being nostalgic. I think we're really bringing back a way of playing and composing that has been a lost art. And unfortunately, these days you hear a lot of sort of AOR music that sounds way too processed and way too triggered and trying to fit in too much, and we like to keep things organic, and that's why we have sort of the funny statement of death to false AOR, and it might sound a bit harsh, but I'm sure you get the irony of it all.
For sure. And you
Mm.
recently supported Kiss on their final 2 shows in Sweden, man. Like, how was that? That would have been sensational.
Absolutely sensational. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, we were just super excited, of course, and we got to meet the band, take pictures, and shake hands, and they were super nice, and the crew was super nice as well, and we got a long sound check, and what a beautiful venue too. Dalhalla, it's sort of like the Red Rocks of Sweden, I would say. And it's sort of like a hole in the ground with like an amphitheater, and there's like water behind the stage. It's like unbelievable, spectacular. And Kiss were sounding absolutely fantastic too. So it was really cool to be a part of their very last two shows in Sweden, and ending on such a high note. It's brilliant.
And how did your music go down with their fans, mate? Like, Kiss fans are notorious for not really giving a shit about whoever else is supporting them. They just there for Kiss. But how'd you guys go down?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I expected too. It's like, but man, people were dancing, and we got a lot of response afterwards in social media as well. Like, wow, I'd never heard of you guys. You're amazing. So they were definitely not harsh. It was really nice to see, because I didn't know what to expect. It's not like I expected people to boo us off, but because it's not that far off from what Kiss is doing, and partly I guess we started this band based on their disco era, pretty much, and which has influenced us a lot, and so I think we got a bunch of new fans for sure.
Stuff. So on that bit of a nostalgia trail, mate, like, go back in time a little bit. Like, you started the Night Flight Orchestra with David Andersson back in 2007 while you were touring the US with Soilwork. So what was the musical climate like back then that gave birth to the band? Like, what was your main inspiration behind doing something like this?
Well, I mean, I would say that the idea of starting a band was born in 2007. It didn't really come into reality until I think it was the summer of 2009. But the idea was born there, and then that we felt that there was something missing out there, and that most retro rock bands were sounding like Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, early 70s stuff, and we wanted to bring back sort of like the late 70s and early 80s, because we felt that was the golden era. Not saying that we were not influenced by early 70s as well, and even later 80s stuff and even 90s stuff, but that was sort of what we wanted that to be the sort of foundation for it, and everything. We wanted to build a concept around it as well, something like a soundtrack of being in motion. Those were the sort of key things for us, and we also discussed a lot in how the band would look like, and what style, and how the sound would be, how the production would be, and what ingredients it should have to sort of become like a full concept. But it all started with us feeling like there's something missing out there, and we wanted to provide that for ourselves to begin with. But then, of course, I think that we also felt that I'm sure people don't even know that they're missing this.
Like I say, you sort of start your focus is the 70s and 80s music. Like, that would have been pretty easy for the first couple of albums to sort of continue down that path. And you guys got 6 albums out now, I think, and it's still going strong. Like, what do you put it that longevity down? Like, bands that started in the 80s aren't still going after 6 albums, but you guys are. Like,
yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, I think we constantly find new inspiration, and I think we also managed to, even though this band is quite sort of full of nostalgia, it also has something that's very refreshing, and it actually makes sense today. It's something timeless, we believe. So it's not all about like us trying to sound exactly like a foreigner in 1978 and the job is done. That's not what it's about. It's about providing something that is making sense today as well. And I think we've found quite a unique expression, even though it's quite obvious like where our influences come from, but it's a very, very wide, like a huge palette of different genres and music and artists. It's not only, it's of course a lot of the radio rock, it's also the British scene, but there's also a lot of ABBA. I'm sure you can hear as well. I mean, who hasn't been influenced by ABBA? I mean, but still, I think that's, I guess, something that separates us a bit more from your average AOR band, that we have more influences from ABBA, I would say, yeah, I think we mixed it up, and we found a pretty refreshing expression in the end, and we keep being influenced from that.
I think another thing too, man, like, I watched a couple of videos through before the interview tonight, and you don't come across as being cheesy or taking the piss out of that era of music. Like, it's still fun, but you're not taking a shot at it. You're actually living it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I guess, and thank you for saying that. I mean, and it is important. I mean, we of course there's tongue in cheek. We make videos that has a lot of tongue in cheek and but still we're 100% serious about it. You know, we want it to be like really sort of being having that balance, you know, where it's okay to have a laugh, but the music is also very serious. You know, I think it's about finding a balance that people enjoy and that we enjoy, and that we don't have to be so damn dead serious about everything. And especially with the concept, you can build a lot of things around that, you know, and that's fun. It should be fun, and we want to provide a show like a real rock show the way it was meant to be. And you know, we have backup singers as well that you normally don't see in rock bands these days. I mean, even in as late as beginning of '90s, you had Guns N' Roses bringing backup singers on tour, you know, and then that kind of died, it feels like. And then it was almost, you only saw it with like more commercial pop artists, you know. So it's something, you know, we have all these ingredients in there, and together that kind of forms like a pretty unique concept, you know, and that is so much fun for us, and it seems like it's a lot of fun for the crowd too.
Oh yeah. Your last two albums, Aromatic and Aromatic 2, were intended as a saga. So is that saga finished up, mate, or is it going to be continued in parts 3 and beyond?
Well, I mean, I think the main reason why there wasn't an Aromantic 2 was that we were not done with Aromantic 1, because that's when, right when that was released, that's when COVID hit, and we were out doing a European tour, and we had to go home after just 1 week because they closed down France and Spain at the time. And that was, you know, big anti-climax, obviously. And then, I mean, we were definitely not alone. There was a lot of bands out there in the same situation, but we felt that we were not done, and then we immediately started working on new songs, and that shaped up to be an album. And we felt like, but we're not done with Aromantic 1. So what do? Well, we do Aromantic 2 so we can tour for both of the albums once you know, everything opens up. So as simple as that. But I mean, like you mentioned, I mean, they're sort of twin albums. You could probably put them together as a double vinyl, you know, that would make sense in the end. But yeah, but we're out there now playing, you know, music from both of the albums, so that's cool.
Beautiful. All right, mate. Well, that's all I've got for you tonight. Thanks very much for your time. The Night Flight Orchestra in Australia, August 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So I believe the tickets are selling really well. So get yourself one now before you miss out, and I'll see you at the Brisbane show.
Looking forward. Thank you so much for the support.
No worries, brother. Enjoy your time.
All right. You too. Later. Bye.